Hello, lovely friends. It's been a while, for which I humbly apologise, but I haven't had any time. So that's just how life goes sometimes. It's a tournament report back in October, which means we're totally going to be finding out what happened in this battle together. And I'm going to vaguely try and remember. So it's an adventure together. You'll also notice that during these battle reports, I will have a giant yellow arrow, which is very much not my thing. I draw on the screen. And this is definitely what lovely Andy 2D6 does, who, as with everything, I am a talentless copier of in everything he does, including this because my Microsoft PowerPoint subscription ran out. I didn't renew it. So I'm doing it the cool way, like the coolest gamer, Andy 2D6. So anyway, this is War of the Roses. It was a 1995 points tournament, 3 games back in October. It was run by the lovely Todd Durkin, who it was his first ever tournament, and boy, what a good job. I'm not being funny, I run tournaments and I've never seen so much food provided for gamers in my life, like endless supplies of food, whatever you fancied. Massive goodie bags full of stuff. He really rolled the barrel. He absolutely set the standard way too high for anyone else. So I'm never going to do a tournament ever again. And so yeah, wonderful event. And he had a special, it was called the War of the Roses. Some English history, if you're interested in that sort of thing. And there were tokens, additional tokens in every scenario. So every scenario had a single Lancaster rose, I believe, in the centre of the board, and 2 York reds, extra objectives basically, loot tokens that you could pick up, and they were worth additional tournament points. So they didn't count towards you winning your game, but they did count towards you winning the tournament if you managed to pick them up. Anyway, to this tournament, I bought my new Nightstalkers, what I had just finished. And this was my initial list. Now, this is, I'd say, midway in kind of my Nightstalker journey, I suppose. My first Nightstalker list was basically 3 Terrors and 4 regiments of Soul Flayers and not, I think, a Void Lurker as well. Not a lot else. And it's kind of evolved a bit. I did paint a lot of Soul Flayers, so I felt like I really wanted to use them. And so we still have 3 regiments of them here. We have over here, I can point with Andy's yellow arrow. I have a horde of bloodworms, which I give them boots of striding because they hit on 4s, and if you hit on anything other than 4s, they suck. 2 hordes and a regiment of scarecrows, and then I have 2 mines creatures, one of which is the shooty one, the singing aberration, and one of which is the healy one, the planar apparition, heal 7, which goes rather well with the terrors, which are just fantastic. 2 of those. And they have all the rules, including Rampage 8, which makes them exceptionally good against infantry, but only crush 1. So I also have 2 horrors, which, if you're interested, are little Ronnie the Bard characters. One's Ronnie the Bard, the original Ronnie the Bard with the band, and the other one is Ronnie the Bardsted, which is the free miniature. You've got a Clash of Kings, and I snaffled one despite not having bought a Mantic army because I ran it and I could. So one of them has been given, I've given the knowledgeable upgrade so he can take Barkskin. So I think Barkskin is great. Barkskin allows you to put additional wound counters on your own models that get taken off before you take wounds. It's really good. And Lightning Bolt, this was pre-Cock, so pre-Clash of Kings changes. And then the other one had Bane Chant and Weakness. All right, that was my 1995 list. Let's have a look at the first opponent. So my first opponent was Steve. This was a challenge. So Steve is sometimes known as Rafici online. I have no idea why. It's nothing like his name. So he challenged me because we have been hanging around each other for a while but never played. And he thought it might be fun. And I thought it might be fun too. And he was playing Northern Alliance, which is lovely. And this is Northern Alliance list. Apologies for it being in a different format, but obviously these were the old lists, so I couldn't just remake them. Yeah. I could have made me. I don't know if the points have changed or not. I could be bothered to find out. Anyway, Northern Alliance. So he had a horde of ice naiads, to which he had given spears to give them phalanx. So that's an ensnaring horde with wild charge and all sorts of rules. He has 2 Icekin Hunter regiments. So these are better Glade Stalkers, basically. They are They are elite like Nightstalkers, except now they have inbuilt Pathfinder, they scout like Nightstalkers, and they freeze you. And then melee 3, so they have all the good rules, and steady aim, which he forgot the entire game, which, you know, there you go. I didn't know either. Both of us were clear this. You know, we were learning our lists as we went along. 2 hordes of Frostfang cavalry with no items. Just the 1 regiment of that's easy for you to say, Frostclaw riders. The ravens, dwarves riding ravens for reasons. I really see very little reason that these should be melee 3 and speed 10. And anyway, Thunderous 2. I mean, why not? I'm just, you know, why the higgity heck? Hang on, they're defense 4 here. Have they been upgraded in the new rules? I was fairly certain. Well, I just played a tournament last weekend where I was assured they were defense 5. So, maybe not. Actually, do you know what? My memory's not good, as we all know. So let's ignore that. And then we have 2 regiments of Snow Foxes. They are the stealthy, vicious, nimble ones. 10 attacks, speed 8. Very, very cheap chaff. Single Ice Queen, who's got Heal, Bane Shard, and Mind Fog, because why not give them all the spells? Thane on Frostfang with Snow Foxes to give him 6 attacks. It's a lovely little fighty hero guy that scores. And a Lord on Chimera, because why would you not take a Lord on Chimera? They have all the rules, especially with Tundra Fighters. Does he have anyone can give? Yeah, so if anyone, Tundra Fighters, so anything that's frozen is then vicious and elite. So 10 attacks, vicious, elite on 3s, crush 3. Gross. Anyway, that is his Northern Alliance list. So let's have a look at the table. And so off we go. This was our table. We were very lucky at this tournament, so we had some really lovely terrain. Some of which was provided by the fine Smith brothers who do warfare down south, which I never managed to get to because it is too far down south. But I really hope I can. Maybe next year. Actually, maybe I should put that on my list for next year because their terrain is beautiful and they are very, very nice men. So this is one of the warfare tables, and it is. I think these ponds are height 1, and the forests are height 9, and that's a hill. And this is a hill, and this is a height 9 church. And this is possibly a height 9 church that isn't as height 9, but whatever. And there's a height 2 wall and a height 2 wall, right? So pretty standard terrain, but very, very, very nicely made. These trees are really very, very good. Anyway, sorry, terrain. And then I immediately forgot that I did battle reports. And then I remembered after we'd rolled off for turn 1 and Steve had won. Whoops. Anyway, we cracked into it. We are playing Control, by the way. So Control, if you remember, is the scenario where you have 6 segments, like yay. This center segment opposite you is worth 2 points. All the other segments are worth 1 to you. Right? See here, this is the 2-point tournament point token, and that is the 1-point tournament point token. There's another one over there. All right. So there we go. So anyway, we deployed, and Steve won the roll for deployment. So you can see what he has done is these Gladestalkers were over here, and they have scouted forward, ready to go. And he did that because opposite them, I put down, I believe, I chose sides maybe, and I put down these Soul Flayers, and he put down his Gladestalkers against the Soul Flayers, which I was happy about because he also put a Frostfang Horde over there. And the other Frostfang Horde was here with its Lord and its Snow Foxes and the Naiads next to it in the center, right? Is there any more? No. And then, so you can see that's opposite the majority of my stuff. And then over on this right-hand side, he's got his Raven guys and the Chimera. So you can see the way that I've deployed is I put these guys down first. I put Soul Flayer, Soul Flayer, Soul Flayer. Because in test games, putting them together didn't work. So I split them up because I very much wanted to use them. I've got my worms in the middle here with, this is a Terror, this Cthulhu thing, and this big bug thing is a Terror as well. There's some of the non-Mantic models in my Mantic army, along with the worms. Everything else is Mantic. Buy Mantic models, by the way, because if you want the company to be here, you need to buy the models. Okay, there's my sales pitch over, and also I like them, so there you go. And that's the rest of my forces you can see there. So this is the Mind Screech here. This, what is obviously a Greater Fire Elemental, is actually the Planar Apparition, what I have painted up to be a Planar Apparition. This Ronnie the Bard stood is The bark skin guy, so he's got bark skin and somewhere else. Can you remember what he's got? I can't remember what he's got. Bark skin and possibly Alchemist Curse, or possibly Bane Charm. No, he's bark skin and Lightning Bolt. Bark skin and Lightning Bolt. I know things. And the other one is hiding. We'll see him later. I mean, he's probably here. That's him there, isn't it? Hiding next to the Fire Elemental. He's here. Yeah, the other one is here, who is the, weakness guy and Bane Charm. All right, cool. And we've got our little regiment of Scarecrows and the Soul Flares over there facing off against these terrifying ravens, who I have a great deal of respect for, having played against them far too much recently. And off we crack. So yeah, so he's moved, he's scouted up anyway, so he's going to shoot me. He won turn 1. These Frostfangs have turned, ready to come and support the main line, which is this line of stuff. Couple of chaff, couple of Frostfangy dudes, some ensnaring dudes. There's the Ice Queen. And he's moved up like yay, ready to shoot me with things. She does. There you go. So he shot this Scarecrow regiment. 3 wounds on them from the possibly from the Icy Breath, maybe from the Ravens as well. Who knows? Stealthy, not that great. However, Stealthy was good against Gladestalkers. Only 1 wound. Pathetic, guys. Very happy. 2 regiments of Gladestalkers being taken up with a single regiment of Soul Flare. So that's a win for me as far as I'm concerned. Oh, but then he killed my regiment, so he must have rolled an 11. Which is out of inspiring because I'm Nightstalkers and I'm not within 12 inches of him. So yeah, so there you go. An 11 on the first go. My regiment's gone. My chaff is gone. Feel sad about my life now. So I was going to push forward and have the Soul Flares in front of them, so that's not happening. So only the Soul Flares decide they're going to run away. This is them just booking it. Well, this seems fun fighting against you guys, but I think instead of that, we're going to run away. So we do that. The Mind Screech comes up behind them to just start some pot-shotting. And everything else moves up in a lovely curve, like yay. I enjoyed this curve very much. I kept this terror back so that some of these rather faster snow foxes can't charge in. Right, they can only charge the hordes. That's the plan. There he is. Look, he's hiding down behind the terror. Nice. And I've just backed up because I decided, you know what, Gladestalkers, you want to charge me? You want to shoot me rather? Come on then. But just carry on shooting me for a bit. I don't mind. I then weaknessed some snow foxes just in case they do decide to charge things, just to make it really pointless. All right. And that's bark skin onto those Scarecrows just in case the things tried to charge them. I think that would be madness. Maybe it wouldn't be madness. I don't think a Chimera and a regiment of Ravens would kill a Scarecrow horde, but it could roll hot. So I bark skinned them just in case. And then the Mind Screech did 3 wounds to those Frostclaw riders, which is pretty cool. Bit of Wind Blast there. Wind Blast is fun. I'm very much enjoying blowing things on the battlefield. Anyway, so I blew back some Frostfangs because they're rather slow. On to turn 2. So, yeah, the Ravens just kind of went over there to carry on shooting, and the Chimera did a dragon thing, which is coming down the flank and staring threateningly at your whole army. That's bad, isn't it? Not great. Everything else just backed up, just fractionally, out of charge range of Terrors and Mind Screech. So I think these guys are out of charge of the Soul Flares, and these guys are in charge of Soul Flares. All of them are, because Soul Flares aren't going to kill any of them, and if they do kill them, they're going to get eaten. Not great. And yet, more Gladestalker-ish things happening. And they shot me again for another 3 wounds. 3 wounds off 20 shots on 4s is bad, guys. Think about it. Let's do the math. Let's do the math. So 20 shots, isn't it? They're 12 to 24 shots on 4 should be 12 hits, right? And then on 4s again should be 6 wounds. Should be 6 wounds, and they actually did 3. So garbage rolling to make up for the 11 he rolled last turn on my Scarecrow regiment. However, the Chimera Icy Breath the Snot out of my Soul Flares. 4 wounds on them, and they are now frozen. Sad times. And these guys, despite only having 4 wounds, they are frozen and wavered. So yeah, another turn of holding up 2 regiments of Gladestalkers. That's how I'm looking at it. This colour scheme, by the way, on my Soul Flares was chosen by my 7-year-old son, who painted one of them. And then I just copied him because I couldn't be bothered to think of my own colour scheme. And I thought it was quite fun. Right, into my turn 2. So what do? I hide things. So the Scarecrows come forward to say, as if to say, go on in, Going in. And then these soul flares, which are very, very tall, they are height 4. So I put them height 4 on the hill and turned them yay, which means that the Chimera can't fit, the Ravens can't fit, and plus they're providing a brilliant screen for literally everything, because there's a total of height 7. So all this stuff you see here hiding on the hill and behind the hill is hiding from the Chimera, because this height 7. I have offered him a tasty flank, which is of course a trap, so that I can then eat him with a terror. Probably wouldn't work because the defense 5 and I got crush 1, but it doesn't matter. Everything else here is hiding, we're shooting at things, it's all good. And then I offered him these scarecrows, I popped them up and said, go on then, you can charge my scarecrows, I don't mind. You can see this 12-inch ruler, which is marking the Naiad's charge range. Oh, I thought they were speed 5. I wonder why a 12-inch ruler is there. Who knows? So maybe I just rubbish at the game. It's more than likely. So the worms are sitting there in a lake with a terror for some support. And we're saying, let's see what happens. Some soul flares in reserve. And these guys just backed away to offer, at least I get cover next turn. Cover and stealthy. Go on then, try and kill me. That's the same thing again. What's happening there? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Did I blow someone again? It seems likely. No, I didn't. It's just a picture close up. Ooh, so dramatic. Not sure what I'm showing. Steve's very nicely painted models. They are good, aren't they? I think they're good. Okay, yeah, I'm really obviously making up for my lack of photographs early with extra photographs of my models. There we go. Oh, what's that? That's Barkskin. Ah, no, the Chimera can indeed charge the soul flares here, should he want to. Why would I do that? Who knows? I put a Barkskin on them just maybe because I couldn't do anything else. It seemed more likely. Anyway, there's got one Barkskin on. My Barkskin roll didn't do very well. So 6 wounds on the Ravens, which is good from Lightning Bolt, and I waver them. Hurrah! Good job. On to turn 3 for the Northern Lions. This is how the battlefield looks. So very threatening in the centre here. I do feel very outmatched in the centre. Got worms and only one terror. This Nightstalker horde, this Scarecrow horde isn't looking good, and just this one soul flare, and it's got all this meat, and very, very, very punchy. Now on the left, I've got a bit more stuff, but it's kind of in the wrong place right now. So maybe I'm thinking of a scenario. Who knows? Doesn't seem likely, it is me. Anyway, what's happened there? Oh, they've backed off. Yes, they're wavered, so they just sodded off backwards, because that's all you can do, really. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get far enough away. That is just under 11 inches. So if I roll a 3 on my wild charge, Scarecrow is going to eat ya. And the Chimera does what Chimeras and dragons do, which is just move a little bit more around the side. Probably do some icy breathing, and then he's going to try and eat me from the flank. Bide your time, it's good. He chooses the triple charge, so he avoids my trap here with the Chimera, and instead just thinks, well, actually, I don't really need it because I've got a Frostfang horde, Lord of Frostfang, and a Naiad horde. I think it's time to eat. Yum, 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 yum. Right? And then, so the other two regiments go along with the other horde on these worms. So the hordes have got Strider, but these Snow Foxes don't. Do they have Pathfinder? I feel like they have Pathfinder. So yeah, lots of unhindered charges going on there. It is all on 4s. Fingers crossed we live. Let's see. And even more wounds. 1 more wound. That's rubbish, isn't it? How much did they have before? 4 before. Another 3. Another 3 wounds. So hysterically bad rolling from the Gladestalkers over here. Perhaps because I give myself cover, they're now shooting me on 6s. Maybe that's why. And the worms take 13 wounds, which is a lot of wounds, but less wounds than you might expect. And they are only wavered, which is absolutely fine because they have Fury, which is delicious. However, these Scarecrows do not suffer such a beneficial fate, and they get totally munched. Scarecrows, bits of Scarecrow everywhere. Not great, but there you go. That's what Chaff does. And he reforms like yay. So there's lots of nice things that can happen now. Notably, so if you look at this, this is the beginning of my turn 3. Chimera's over here. We'll deal with him later. Probably going to screen him again. These guys, if I roll a 6, are going to get Scarecrowed. This Terror is in a bad place because there's lots of stuff here they can't do anything about. This Terror is going to start having an ensnare off and just try and hold off the Chimera long enough to ensnare off better. But I have got a lovely flank, so this Frostfang Horde here, because it couldn't kill the worms, these Soul Flayers can come from fly over and come into the flank here. Now it is a hindered flank, but we are hopeful we can do things with that. Let's see how we go. So I do roll the 5 or the 6 for my wild charge, and Scarecrows decide to munch on Ravens, which is great. I shield again with my Soul Flayers from this Chimera, who still can't see anything, which is great, and you can see I've hidden everything behind them. We come to play here with Naiads and ensnare off on this side. So the only thing this Terror can do is play with Snow Foxes. And we take a front and flank against these Frost Fangs. So hopeful of things happening there. Back off again with the luckiest Soul Flayers in the world who have survived an insane number of arrows. Yep, and there we go. Cracking on. Oh, and that's so this is some lightning bolts, a bit of mind fog, and an extra lightning bolt here onto these Snow Foxes. All of that shooting does a massive 3 wounds, but I do kill them by rolling high on the nerve, and that's just sometimes how luck goes. What's more, we do manage to murderize the Frost Fangs, which was a big weight off my mind. Some Bane Chant. Oh, I didn't lightning bolt. Look at Bane Chant. Bane Chant of the worms. That's very sensible. Good plan. Into turn 4 for the Northern Alliance. This is what it looks like. So now the centre looks a little bit more favourable. So these Glazestalkers are still having to finish off these Soul Flayers. 4 turns of shooting. That is very frustrating. I feel the frustration. These Frost Fangs are going to have to play with Ensnare. This guy is facing the wrong way, so I've managed to move everything. So this Frost Fang Lord's line of sight is like this. He can't see anything, so he's wasted for a turn, which is great. The Scarecrows did indeed finish off the Ravens. So things are starting to turn at this point. He's still got a very strong centre, but if he doesn't do something quickly, he's going to be in trouble. And really, this is a problem because Frost Fangs into Ensnare are absolutely terrible. Without question of doubt, the worst. They hit on 5s all of a sudden, so they're not going to kill this Terror. And then they've got all this nastiness here. And he's Glazestalkers over here. You know, they need to focus on finishing here. Maybe one of them should come over. I don't know. And he's got this Ice Queen. And his Chimera is still kind of languishing in the flank, having been blocked for 3 turns. So, we did do 5 wounds with our Terror onto the Ensnarers. It isn't bad for hitting on 4s, I guess. It is 20 attacks on 4s. So, 10 and 5. That's actually completely average. Maybe under on the wounds, but whatever. It's not interesting. So the Glazestalker, he decides one Glazestalker regiment is enough. The other Glazestalker regiment is going to try and shoot these worms off, which is a very good call. And the Frostfangs go into the Terror. There's not a lot more they could do. And then the Frostfang Lord makes a decision to go this way, not this way, because the Frostfangs block the line of sight from the Soul Flayer, so he's fairly safe in sitting there to kind of support over this because it's really needed. There's a lot of meat over there from me. The Chimera once again just comes around because he can't do anything else, which is very frustrating. So this time, it's gonna be, I'm gonna struggle to block him this time. That Chimera is going to need to do something. Soul Flayers finally bite the bullet. Didn't deserve to last that long. 8 wounds. That's very respectable. 8 wounds. I mean, they've got a lot of attacks, haven't they, Frostfangs? And I am in a defense 4, but so 8 wounds is not enough to do anything to me. 2 wounds, that's a pathetic display from the Ensnarers hitting on 5s. And into my turn 4. 4? Yeah, into my turn 4. So the Soul Flayers decide we're not going to spend any more time blocking this Chimera. Bored of that. Instead, I'm going to go over here and claim a table quarter. 6th. So we're going to claim this one. The Scarecrow is going to claim this one. It's all good. And what I've done here, so you can't. Unfortunately, the placement isn't very good, but we did it without the hill, we kind of moved the bases. The plan here is basically the back of the Terror is shielded by the 2 Mind Screeches. The Planar Apparition, in turn, is shielding the Singing Apparition, and I've bark-skinned the Planar Apparition. So if the Chimera charges this guy, he's the only one he can charge, and he's bark-skinned. All right. Equally, the Lord and Frostfang can do that. Lord and Frostfang can also go into the flank of the Terror. Can he kill him in one? Not so sure. We take, so the Gladestalkers shot like poop. I think they, by the look of it, they missed everything. That's the 13 there. Did he even remember to shoot? I don't remember him shooting, not gonna lie. It looks like he missed everything, which is a terrible roll. Very embarrassing for those Gladestalkers. They clearly are inferior. They're not called Gladestalkers, they're Ice Skin Hunters, whatever they're called. I've called them Gladestalkers this entire battle report. That's not what they are. They're better Gladestalkers. I've got it fixed in my head. Ice Skin Hunters? Anyway, they suck. Today. And we kill off the Frostfangs, which is awesome for me, so now feeling very strong. Obviously those worms are not long for this world, but I do have a lot more unit strength hanging around. Just 4 wounds on those Naiads, not great, into turn 5. And so looking around, rather than take my bark skin to planar apparition, the Chimera decides to finish off the worms. Right, so he just kind of decides to charge them, mainly because it puts him in a great position. It puts him into my table, into his 2-point table quarter, and he's got hunters, Ice Skin Hunters coming as well. Here they come. So this one comes up to claim this corner, and this one comes up here because he needs the unit strength in my section. Whereas the Lord on Frostfang decides to go into the flank of the Terror. Let's see if he can do more than the Naiads did, because as you can see, I've either healed or regened all the wounds off. It is unwounded. That's the Ice Queen trying to do things to Soul Flares and not doing a lot. However, the worms do turn and they've gone slithered back to where they came from, and now that Chimera is looking at stuff rather threateningly. Even worse, the Lord on Frostfang rolls out of the box, smashes the living daylights out of my Terror, and I am down 1 Terror. Very sad, and he has a horde of Naiads just hanging around now, not very many wounds. That's a lot of unit strength, very depressing. So it's like, yay. So then he has a problem, right? Because he's got a Terror and Soul Flares looking at it. I'm not sure this was the best decision, if I'm honest with you. I think maybe the centre, because of where that Mind Screech was, he might not have been able to turn to get them both in his front. Whatever happened, the way he turned, you can see there, the line of sight. The Terror is in the flank. The Terror is in the flank of his Naiad Ensnarers, his biggest unit strength. And boy, do I take it. So Soul Flares in the front, Terror in the flank. I Bane Chant it. We're going for it. We're going to try and take them off. I've irritatingly positioned my Scarecrows halfway on the midway line so I can claim either the top or bottom quarters, sixths, when I decide I want to, which is, I think, why Controller's a terrible scenario. And then my Mind Screech has popped off because I need to get his 2-point section. Very important. These Soul Flares and the Mind Screech need to claim this centre section up here. Right? For me to win. And I've got my Horror and my Planar Apparition holding onto my section. When these Gladestalkers come in, I will lose that section. However, I've regen... No, that's just... What's that showing? Things. Who knows? It's just showing me in the flank, maybe. Anyway, we smashed the living daylights out of them. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Very, very dead. Very, very happy. Unit strength gone. That's great news for me on turn 5. And we reform like this. So the Terror I leave deliberately facing the back of the Chimera with Bark Skin on because I want him to charge it. Oh no, actually maybe not. Actually, sorry, that's not true. Maybe I think I'm that clever. I'm not. As you can see, with the line of sight from the Chimera, it's like this. He can't see the Terror. So there's no reason to face him. Instead, I'm facing the Lord on Frostfang, and I've got Bark Skin tokens. All right. The Mind Screech is behind the woods, can't be seen, and the Soul Flares are in the woods. If he charges that, then he's going to get munched. But he does. So he charges it. The Chimera turns around and starts, chooses to shoot something, I think. These Gladestalkers have come down into this section, so now he had... Not Gladestalkers, Ice Skin Hunters. Now he's got 3 unit strength in my section, so he's going to get that 2 points because I've only got 2 unit strength. Because at this point, Titans are only worth 1. Oh, I actually guess the Chimera would have gone up as well. However, the Lord on Frostfang needs to kill these Soul Flayers in order to stop me claiming his section. If he doesn't kill them on turn 6, this is turn 6, I claim this center section with 2 points, and I get top and bottom sections here, which gives me a 4, and he's only got a 3. And you can see here 6 wounds, and they are okay. They are okay. Plus, the charge on my turn wipes out the Lorna of Frostfang. Right? And so I end the game on a conclusive 4-3 victory. I say conclusive, not that conclusive. Really bloody close 4-3 victory. So yeah, that was the end of the game. If there was a turn 7, you can see I've stacked Barkskin tokens on these Soul Flayers just in case the Chimera tries to come in. But there was no turn 7. There was no turn 7, and we did very well. So very, very happy with that. Really great game. Lovely guy. I've known him for quite a while. Really nice man. Very, very pleasant. And a good opponent. Most of us, we spent most of the time trying to read the rules off our own sheets because we couldn't remember what anything did. But it was a good game. Right then, on to game 2. Okay, we are into game 2 versus Andy. Andy is one of the Smith brothers I mentioned earlier. And he has magnificent hair. And he's being a League of Rhordia with Nightstalker allies, which is a weird thing. And I think it was a joke, and I'm not sure what the joke is. Because his list was called, well, it was entitled something like, Look, Todd, Nightstalkers, or something. I don't really understand what's going on anyway, but his army is called Anatomically Correct Bulls. Because it featured some Honor Guard, the Knights of the Laughing Cow, you can see over here, which were modelled on bulls, in which he had created testicles, giant dangling testicles on each one of them. I really have no idea what was going on, but very nice to look at. You'll see them in a bit. You might not see the testicles, the bullocks, you might say. Anyway, he had League of Rhordia, and he had the Shields of Hetronberg, Legion, Horde of Dogs of War, right? Dogs of War. Who are these? And he gave them the Hammer of Measured Force. These are ensnaring, phalanx 30 attack, defense 5, very nasty. And then he had the Razors of Berlonvish, which he'd called Habaneros Halberdiers, who get elite instead of ensnare, right? And then they are melee 3. Whoa! So they are extremely punchy. And that's a scary horde. Then he's got a cavalry troop who he's called Bok Boks. I really don't know what's going on. A little troop of mounted scouts. The aforementioned Laughing Cow horde of Honor Guard, to whom he had given Boots of Striding to make sure they really do crush you. And then he had the Battle Shrine, because I think that's mandatory in League of Rhordia. Double Wizards on Pegasus. One of which was Inspiring with Lightning Bolt, one of which was Conjurer's Staff with Lightning Bolt and Bane Chant 2. Conjurer's Staff, of course, allowing you to re-roll 1 miss. A Duke on Ancient Winged Adalaz. Mini Dragon, very expensive Mini Dragon actually, looking at that. Anyway, he's got loads of rules, so that's why I guess. Crush 2, Fly, Iron Resolve, Nimble, Radiance, Thunderous Charge 1, very inspiring. So yeah, no, pretty tasty. Just the only 7 attacks makes it a bit sad. Alberto there. And then, for reasons I don't really understand, he bought 2 Hordes of Ravagers. The new Nightstalkers with Void Cannons for 12-inch piercing, 1 steady aim shooting. So, on the face of it, very nasty list. Let's have a little look at the battlefield. So here we are. This is the battlefield. This is not one of the warfare tables. This is, I think, a club table. So these big things here are hills. Those are 2 hills. This is a forest. There's another forest down here. This is a building, obviously, but building, wall. And these are difficult terrain. You'll notice every single table is completely symmetrical. And that was deliberate by Todd to avoid... And mostly it was deliberate because he had a number of very new players from his club who I think needed some of the uncertainty of the game taken out so that they felt like they had more of a chance. So that's kind of why the tables remained very standard. I really liked them. I really enjoyed not having to kind of think too hard about table size. Just whack them down and off you go. That was just my feeling. But there you go. Right, so we deployed like this, I believe. What was the scenario? I need to look up the scenario now. Ah, gosh darn it. Okay, so the scenario was push. I've looked it up. Through the magic of video editing, you won't have known that I've just gone and looked it up. Push. So push, as you know, is for you. I think you have normally D3, but in this case we had 2 tokens, as well as our rose token. So you can see the rose token, there's one in the middle underneath this barrel, and there's one at either. I can't remember if I got one in the last game. I think I got one of them. I got one of the ones down that end. I forgot about that. Don't know who got. I thought I dropped the one in the middle to go and do something. I remember doing that, and I failed to tell you about it while I was telling you about the battle report. So that sucked of me, didn't it? Anyway, so 1 token in the middle, and then 1. This time you could put them 2 on your units. So how did we do that? So you can see over here, he has gone with a deny flank. Very, very denied flank. So he's got his 2 big hordes. I think this one is the ensnare horde. This one is the punchy horde. There's his ravagers. That's the shrine there in the middle. He's got a wizard there and a wizard there. I don't know what they do, which one is which, but they're both lightning bolty, so that's probably all that matters. There's the dragon, and here are the honor guard with this mounted scouts in front. It struck me at the time, putting the honor guard all the way out on the left was kind of ballsy, but that's like his main punch. I guess this horde is also very punchy, but I was deploying, I deployed one on the right here, which he ignored, and then just very heavily in the center because we've got these 2 buildings, right? And so this token in the middle becomes very, very important because, as you know, in push, if you've watched my videos before, I always say, you're fighting over this center token. Really, you can ignore the other person's 2-point token. It doesn't really matter. And what matters is getting the center because 3 over the line wins. Right? That's 6 points. You win no matter what. So, with this very thin corridor here, I was going to stack the middle because I need to get that token. Whereas he's gone with his very heavy stuff over on the left here. I was like, okay, fine. So I've gone with Soul Flare, Soul Flare, Soul Flare. So 1 in the middle and 1 on each flank. I've got the regiment of scarecrows over here. And I've got a horde of scarecrows. And I've positioned, with a little bit more thought, I put my terrors together. Because terrors together is good, especially with the planar apparition behind them to heal them. They're just never going to die. Never going to die. There's my worms. And off we crack. So, tokens. So that's a token there on the battle shrine. I think I put both. Did I put both my tokens or 1 token on this? I think I put 1 token. That's right, that was a rule. Oh, I've just remembered a rule. So preempting Clash of Kings, Todd had determined for loot tokens, you could only carry as much as your unit strength, I believe. Something like that, anyway. So if you had 2 unit strength, you could carry 2 tokens. Yeah. So that's why there's only 1 token there on the battle shrine. Where is his other token? What a great question. I don't know. Anyway, there's 1 token there on my horde of bloodworms, who of course units, and I put 1 over there on the scarecrows. Realistically, I should have put them both on the scarecrows because there's no way he's going to get anywhere near them, is there? Unless his dragon flew over. Anyway, I didn't. Off I crack. So where was the other one? Is it? Can you see it? There these. Oh, there it is. Is that it? There. It's on this Ravagers thing. Maybe. I'm scanning. Ah, it's here. There it is. It's this thing here. So he's put 1 on this punchy horde, and 1 on his battle shrine. That's what these are. These are my loot tokens here. I've got 1 on these bloodworms, and 1 over here on these scarecrows. There you go. Anyway, I win turn 1. Hurrah! And off we go. So I decide to abandon over here and just fly over because I don't really want to face a dragon. Instead, he can play with this horde all day. And we just push up in the middle as aggressively as possible because this token is what I'm playing for, right? These scarecrows are wandering off on their own to go and pick up this rose token. And these guys have come over to support. And there we go. Well, that's so blurry. But you get an idea. I'm forming a nice curve here. He's stuck over here. And I'm very happy that the very, very scary honor guard are up there in the corner. So they start coming around. They are beautifully modelled. Look at those. Beautifully. He's a whiz with Blender, with designing stuff. He designed, if you saw, you might have seen on Kings of War Fanatics, he designed a downed, what's the abyssal dwarf, like big behemoth thing. And then they had little children ones around it on like a diorama for one of his tables. Beautiful, beautiful. So very, very good at 3D modelling. So anyway, that's what he's doing. So they're coming around, I guess, a little bit slow, and things are kind of moving around. So just kind of a very slow advance. These are obviously the ensnaring ones, and these are the punchy ones, because look at all those flirking pikes. Anyway, the pikes of Hettrenberg. he's held his dragon back, which I thought was puzzling. Wasn't sure why he did that. I kind of would be pushing a lot harder around the flank with the dragon because then he can come down. Anyway, that was some lightning bolt from a wizard onto my soul flares as wounded damage and onto turn 2. And so I just kind of really push forward. I jump forward with the scarecrows. I pick up both the rose token and the loot token. These guys picked up a rose token over here. And we have got scarecrows here ready to drop it and push forwards. And then the worms will come and pick it up. I've got lots of stuff to throw at him to make sure I keep that happening. But yeah, this is my turn 2. I've now secured myself behind my scarecrows. And I'm reasonably okay if any of this stuff charges me or shoots at me. Because all that really matters is this unit with its tokens and this unit with its tokens. Just need to hold everything off for another 4 turns. I'm sure it's fine. So yeah, I've stayed out of charge range, as you can see. That's a 10-inch ruler. Pretty happy. 5 wounds there. 5 wounds. What's it from? It's going to be from... surely not from just a mind screech. I mean, they're on a hill. I get it. Not sure. But there's some wind blasts going on. I think I wind blast whatever I can. Push things back. Push things away from me. And 5 points must be from the mind screech and from the light. Yeah, there's double lightning bolt and mind screech. It's just 5 wounds onto them, which is pretty tasty for a turn 3. Turn 2 even. So Andy's turn 2. So he sends chaff into my scarecrows, which I'm fine with, and he chooses to keep everything else back. So the dragon's still kind of lurking around, feeling a bit shamefaced. So maybe he's biding time, I think, so his ravagers can come and start shooting things, and the bulls can really kind of wrap around. But the ravagers are going to have a tough time because I'm stealthy like they are. And there's 2 wounds from some ravagers onto a terror, who's going to regen them. And 5 wounds onto the scarecrows. They're feeling fine. Oh, hang on. What's that? Whoa. That's 5 wounds from the other ravagers onto some soul flares who are not feeling fine. They are, in fact, wavered. So that's sad. 3 wounds from the mounted scouts onto the scarecrows. They're okay. Onto my turn 3. So I do the old switcheroo. So the scarecrows dropped the tokens they were holding and just charged in with everything they had. So we are ensnared. Everything's ensnared. But double terror plus scarecrows into that horde is still 40 attacks on 4s. That's still pretty gross. And plus I've got some soul flares behind. So at this point, I'm feeling very happy because, to be honest, what I'd probably have done if I was Andy, and we did talk about this, but he was like, didn't want to throw them away. He's got these wizards on Pegasus. So there's one here and there's one over there. They are great chaff, and he has loaded them with spells, so I can understand why. But if you put a Pegasus wizard right in front of this horde here, it has to charge the Pegasus wizard, and then you get the charge off the hill. He chose not to do that. He could have put both in here and really blocked everything up. It is throwing them away, but at this point, he needs to get in because he needs to get the tokens off me. And he didn't. So that was my thought as he did that. But I was like, okay, let's crack on. Let's go in. Smash it. So we did. And I think we did. So they were already at 5 wounds, that horde. You can see I've brought my planar apparition over here to start healing these soul flares. Because really what I want to do is just hold off this really scary flank for as long as possible. Bark skin onto one of the terrors. And I also Bane chanted it. That's healing, so I healed the soul flares. Good job. And then, heal the soul flares. And then the scarecrows, in a surprise to everyone, managed to kill the mounted scouts, which was rather delicious. Ah, look, 18 wounds. There's a lot of wounds for ensnared. Don't think the scarecrows hit on 6s. 18 wounds and a waver onto those. But they've got Indomitable Will, so they're probably going to pop that. Turn 3. So this is how it looks at the bottom of turn 3. And so the plan is run this way as far as possible. So yeah, bottom of turn 3, he brings his Honor Guard and his very hitty horde into my scarecrows. That's probably going to do very nasty things. And then he takes both the horde. I think does the horde go and Ravagers go into the middle? The bark-skinned terror. Is that what's happened here? Let's see where the wounds go. Yep, and everything else is coming in the back. The dragon's still not playing. You kind of think the dragon would start to want to come over and play with things because That's where the tokens are. I think he was just nervous of losing it because it's just not as powerful as a dragon. That's some more shooting there from Ravagers onto those Soul Flayers who've got 4 wounds. Yep, so all the attacks went into the Bark-skinned Terror. Which I was delighted at, but I was like, really? 7 wounds, so 7 plus however many tokens he had. 7 plus 3, so 10 wounds total because of Mind Snare. Meant that it was a very, very dissatisfying round. However, Scarecrows ain't going to stand up to all of that power, but because of how they were angled, this Horde's now in a pretty tricky place. So I didn't really mind that over much. You've seen he's kept it in the front of the Soul Flayers, which is, I'm just going to throw them away. And we're going to chuck them in because they're now going to hold up 3 units while he has to kill them. So I think that's pretty cool for me. Turn 4, so I do that. So they go into the front of the Horde, hold up all these units. Brilliant. The Terrors take on the Ravagers. I think my... So why do my Scarecrows back off? I don't know. I think I just kind of sit there and think, well, what's the point? You're not wavering. You can't waver them anyway. Who knows? Maybe I just couldn't fit the models in because of the spears. I don't know. Anyway, however, these Soul Flayers who were over here, these ones that were behind the Scarecrows to start with, saw that this wizard had left its rear, and so thought, yeah, well, we fancy these tokens too. So I came around and rear charged a wizard, because why wouldn't we rear charge a wizard? That sounds like fun for everyone. The other Soul Flayers then hopped over behind the Scarecrows, allowing my worms to turn this way because I'm trying to escape up here, right? Mind Screech up here, just happily kind of hammering lightning bolts into things that it can. Or maybe I wind blast them, who knows? I don't know what's going on. So that's a screenshot of the same thing, lovely. So a rear oh no, that's the 2 Terrors into Ravagers. Sadly, only 11 wounds, 24 attacks on 3s and 3s. 11 wounds feels a bit lame. Wavered them, but is what it is. So we 5 wounds onto these very scary Horde. These basing, by the way, delicious. Just delicious. I think this won Best Painted. It did win Best Painted. Beautifully modelled. Lovely, 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 lovely basing. Very strong. Killed a wizard, because, you know, rear charge. So this turn, so on to Andy's turn. This Ravager Horde and the very scary Horde decided to really just finish off my Soul Flayers. I'm not sure I would have done this. I think this Horde on its own would have killed them. What this has done is pushed the scary Horde almost out of the way. Maybe that's the best thing to do, actually, because even here, they can't turn. So yeah, no, okay, I support this. It pushes the Horde out of the way, which allows the Honor Guard, who have done nothing, apart from kill some Scarecrows, leeway to come forward. And then this Wizard ran off to get a Rose token, because that's good use of a Wizard at this point. The Battle Shrine charges my Soul Flayers. And I think probably a counter charge from the Ravagers. Oh, they're wavered on, they can't do that. Ha ha. So counter charge from Battle Shrine does 2 damage to my Soul Flayers. They're okay. Much murder goes on here, and yep, so that's exactly what he's doing. So with his token, of course, he's turned here so he can get into my half with a token. Very sensible, very good. Into turn 5, so this is how we're looking. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. So the other Soul Flayers jump over the top and take on the Battle Shrine. It has, after all, got a token. This dragon is still just kind of sitting here. Why on earth did the dragon not come in last turn? Why would you charge the Battle Shrine in and not your dragon? That's crazy, man. No offense. The dragon's still just hanging around going, hey guys. So yeah, so the Scarecrows have just kind of sat kind of horizontal or vertical to allow my worms to hide behind them, which is great for me. And we're just playing with Ravagers and playing with Battle Shrines and stuff over there. Because at this point, I've got all 3 tokens into the half. I've got some Rose tokens, pretty happy. There's not a lot that can catch me or even get anywhere near me. So it's just kind of playing out the turn. There's the other one. So yep, there's combats. Yep, so we kill both Battle Shrine and Ravagers. And now that dragon is feeling very silly, as it sits there facing a very, very scary amount of stuff. We take the loot token onto the back Soul Flayers and shield it with the front Soul Flayers. And the dragon comes in finally. Remembers how to attack with the Ravagers into that front Soul Flayers. And these guys come around the bottom, and I just decided to start shooting them with a Mind Screech for fun. And that's the dead pile. So he arranged his dead pile aggressively around my Scarecrow regiment, which is very mean. Yep, that's what that's looking like. So 5 wounds from those guys, not great onto the Soul Flares. And then we just counter charge with much murder. There's flanks, there's fronts, there's oh dear, all very painful for turn 6. Some Mind Screech wounds go on there. I think that's healing. That's healing. Yep, everything dies. Dragon's not dead, but he did take some wounds, so he's not flying. And then these guys just kind of creep forward to very aggressively. We're going to get you. We're going to get you. And that, I believe, is the end of the game. So yeah, conclusive victory at the end. So I think deployment let him down, really, with his really, really scary unit over on the left there. And really, the scenario is all about taking the center token. So yeah, that allowed me to win that one. He was very gracious about it. And as I mentioned, he does have lovely hair. Anyway, on to game 3. And so we're into game 3. I'm on 2 wins, but they were 2 smaller wins out of the field. So I was actually on table 4. Table 3? Table 3. I was on table 3, so it was like in 5th or 6th place at this point, because there had been some very big wins from some very good players. And I was playing Derek, who tried to play me a story of, I'm new, I'm not that good kind of story. Absolute lies. He's a stone cold killer. So yeah, it was really nice to meet him though. He's a lovely, lovely guy. And I think he watches the channel, in which case, hi! I'm going to talk about our game now. I'll be mean about you. So this was his list. Another Northern Alliance list, my second Northern Alliance list of the day. And he had triple Icekin Hunter troops. So these are the guys, and he actually knew that they had steady aim, which was going to help him. And then he had a Regiment of Tribesmen with the Half Guard upgrade. That gives them 20 attacks. That makes them a 15-17. And he gave them the Mace of Crushing. Very, very, very nice. Very nasty unit. 2 hordes of Ice Elementals. Frostfang Horde with the Brew of Sharpness. So absolutely gross. So that's Frostfang Hordes, their main problem is that while they've got 30 attacks, they hit on 4s, like a Berserker Horde. And he gave them Sharpness, which makes them a total Death Star. They're Crush 2, Strider, always hitting on 3s. Disgusting. 2 regiments of Snow Foxes. The chaff, and 2 bolt throwers. I really like Icekin bolt throwers. Just wanted to say, people don't rate artillery. I think these are excellent because they are elite, and they have piercing 2, and they make you frozen. I think one of the best siege engines in the game. Double Ice Queens, both of whom had Icy Breath 10 and Surge 8. So clearly there to facilitate the Ice Elementals, right? And we are playing Pillage. This was our battlefield. So again, nice mirrored battlefield. So we have this back on the warfare terrain. We had 2 height 9 Impossibles here. This is such a cool board, man. Isn't it though? Anyway, 2 height 9 forests, 2 height 2 walls, and 2 height 2 hills right on the edges here. So all the terrain right in the center. And this is the pillage tokens. So these numbers, this is the 2-point rose token, the 1-point rose tokens. I've not done this is why I'm in position 5 or 6. It's because I've not done very well on the rose tokens. I'm not really been focusing on it, unlike the better players. So we are playing pillage with 6 tokens, and you can see the tokens here. 6 is interesting. Normally people choose an odd number to make a victory, but 6 means you can definitely draw. So we have 1 up here, 1 down here, and then up here, and then down here, and then up here, and down here. Okay? So 3 aside, which is pretty normal, what you'd expect. And Derek deployed. This is when I knew I was dealing with no fool, because what he has created is a total kill zone. So anyway, he's put his Frostfangs and Ice Elementals. 1 Frostfang over here, 1 Ice Elemental over here. The other Ice Elemental is over there on the other side. Now I would say that I don't agree with this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So what he's creating in the center here is a total kill zone. So he's put his bolt throwers right facing right across this lovely open section, and all 3 of his troops of shooty bastards. And then so he's got his Ice Queens here as well, and a Snow Fox regiment. And then over on the right, over on this side, he's got his Hearth Guard, the other Ice Elementals, the Snow Foxes. And the reason I don't agree with this, maybe he was thinking about the 2 tokens that were there, but I positioned myself totally over here, and I gave no indication I was putting anything over there. And he's put his Kilius unit, which is these Hearth Guard, totally out of the way of anything. So I was kind of really pleased with that. It's very much like the Honor Guard in the last game. I was like, okay, that's cool. This is a real problem. I'm going to need to get across the board very, very fast, because what I've realized through this tournament is my army has no real response. I think I relied on the idea that they're stealthy as some kind of insurance against heavy shooting. And this isn't particularly heavy shooting. I mean, it's 2 bolt throwers and 30 shots and 2 Ice Queens, and then 2 Ice Elementals as well. But it's not heavy shooting. It's not like properly heavy shooting. And yet still, I'm going to struggle here, because this is a lot of ground to cover with 2 obstacles in the way that I can't get past. And I'm going to have to face withering shooting the entire time. And I don't have an answer. I don't have any fast characters. Also, I made a mistake in my deployment. So you can see here, I've put 1 terror on the edge here. Remember in the last game I said the terrors work best together, and I remembered this too late. So I put the Scarecrow Horde down first, realizing I should have put this terror, the Cthulhu terror, this side, next to the hill, so I had a terror either side of the hill. Because they're bullet magnets, which is great because they regen and heal. They're the best choice for shooting, but the worst choice at the same time. Everything else is cover and stealthy. I've hidden these guys here. So by putting this guy here, I've made him the best target, whereas putting him here, he might have chosen the Scarecrows. Anyway, that's a mistake from me. Anyway, so off we crack. I win first turn, which is superb. Very happy. And I push forward. I decide, you know what? If he's going to be a bullet magnet, shoot him. Go for it. You crack on with him, because actually he's not important in this game. Everything else is important. Let's see how we go. So I push forward as aggressively as I can with my slow moving force, keeping my soul flares back, because they're the other bullet magnet really, and they need to be held back until the appropriate time. That's a little bit of lightning bolt onto a hunter troop, doesn't do anything. On to Derek's turn, he brings his stuff round. So these guys, I mean, they are out of the way here really, aren't they? And the ice elements need to come around. I think they might have been better served through this gap here, but it is what it is. Whereas his snow foxes are running like the blizzard, like the billio to come this way. And yet he pushed forward a little bit on the right here and left everything else pretty much as it is. And then he had a superb round of rolling. So 30 shots on 4s, on 5s rather, would have done 10 hits against his 4, so 5 wounds. And then he just rolled very, very well with his bolt throwers. Very, very well with his bolt throwers. And he got some great wounds onto my terror, something to regen. And the reason it's bad, the terror is all the way over there, is because the planar apparition is here. So my heal battery is too far away to heal him. Bad deployment anyway. Turn 2 for me, so I regen 5 of those wounds, which is great. But the planar apparition couldn't make up the gap, so that's poor. So instead, I just kind of faced him off and said, all right, shoot him again. That's what he's there for. Go for it. Shoot him again. Because if they're shooting him, they're not shooting the now very, very obvious target in the center here. That's what my hope was. I pushed forward hard with the terror here because this Frostfang Horde, while it's behind the woods, couldn't see it. The only thing you can see is the worms, and it's too far away to charge them. So the terror's pushed forward nice and hard. So we weaknessed the Ice King Hunters in the middle, and we did another wound to the Ice King Hunters on the right, and then we wavered them, which is superb. Fantastic. Very, very good. So my taking out any of that strength of shooting is very, very good for me at this point. Yep. What's that showing? That's showing a wind blast. I've wind blasted something. What did I wind blast? I wind blasted the foxes. So I wind blasted these snow foxes right back against the bolt thrower. And just keeping them out because they're speed 8. That's a little bit of his speed he can't come in with. That's fine. Good, well done. So then on his turn, he's moved stuff in as far as he can. So he's going to continue shooting this terror. And boy, does he shoot this terror. So the combination of the... So it's the... what is it? Icy Breath, which doesn't take stealthy from the Ice Elementals. And all the other shooting. So he still had 2 troops and both bolt throwers into that terror. Took it off. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I've paid for the price for my error. But really, that's great that he spent a whole nother turn. So 2 whole turns of shooting on one thing. I haven't bothered to count up the points of it, but I think it's a reasonable compromise. So into turn 3. So this is the state of play in turn 3. You can see I've left my regiment of scarecrows back here to sit on this token, and they sit there the whole turn. Happy with that. I just need to kind of... I need to monopolize this token up here, which is going to be tough. I need to get this one and this one. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So there isn't one on the hill up here, that's right. That's the rose token. I need to stick with this token down here. This one down here. This definitely needs to be mine, and then we're really fighting over the others. So that's how we look. So we go maximum shield. So I choose to take this Soulflare Regiment and use it to soak up shots. So I put it right here, height 4. It's going to block like roughly a half of the shooting just by being there. The scarecrows have picked up the 2-point token, and they're sitting here just kind of waiting to be charged. And everything else is kind of forming a line here. My terror is right here. Now he is running the risk of a surge from these ice elementals. However, a surge into ensnare is a great prospect for me, because then you're gonna get wormed, right? So hopefully he takes it. Let's see. That's just a close up showing you. So that's the charge distance. Oh, what's going on there? He's sidestepped. Oh, what's going on there? Look at this. This horde's split into 2. Anyway, so this is marking the distance from this Frost Fangs. The Frost Fangs can't charge me, and it would be a bad idea if they did. They're not going to kill either of these in one go, and we are going to murder you in return. Maybe they will kill them in one go. Who knows? So, we managed to waver this regiment again with some shooting. I don't know where their wounds have gone. Is it 3 up there? Is that it? No, they're wavered. Right, so having left my regiment out here as a sacrificial lamb, he takes the rear charge and the front charge. Tries to get rid of them because they're sitting on a token. He needs this token. So he sends the foxes in there. And he... other foxes into these soul flares. So the other foxes come off of this bolt throw into the other soul flares. He brings up his ice elementals with the support of this very, very hitty unit to try and blast off my scarecrows. 8 wounds is pretty solid. Not going to lie, that's more than I would like. And he also kills the soul flare, so he's now in a very solid position on this token, which is not what you want, because now he has real control over 3 of the tokens. So minimum draw if he keeps something back on this token, this gold bag here. Into turn 4. So this is how it looks on turn 4. So this token down here, he can claim with either of these guys. This one back here, he seems to be ignoring right now. And this one's down here. So he's possibly banking on getting this token that my terror is sitting in front of, because these 2 are very solidly mine. At turn 4. So what do I do in turn 4? I take the scarecrows into these snow foxes. I decide I'm going to challenge over here. I don't know what happened. I guess no wounds? No wounds? Really? Yes, no, it is no wounds. Look, he's done 0 wounds to my soul flares because I fly off. I think he went over this wall, so he's hitting on 6s, so sucks to be here. So I fly off over here to fight these guys. I take the scarecrows into the foxes, and I choose to lightning bolt these hunters here. I move everything out of the way, so I've left these snow foxes alone. They can just do what they want, and we've got lightning bolt and lightning bolt on these guys. This is going to be a heal onto these scarecrows, and the terror has chosen to ignore the ice elementals, where I've just bought my my worms and scarecrows with these soul flare support to face off against these guys. 2 wounds from all that, cover lightning bolt. That's not great, is it? Doesn't do a lot. But check out my barkskin roll. 5 out of 5 barkskins. That's a rare occurrence. They are fully barked up. That's a Wind Blast. So Frost Fangs, I don't want to play with Frost Fangs with Sharpness. So a Wind Blast from my Soul Flayers pushes them even further back, which is very nice. This attack here, sadly, only gets a waiver. Of 12 attacks on 3s and 2s. Shame. Shame on you, Soul Flayers. You suck. 7 wounds. Bad. Right, so what that does, so I do kill off these other Ice King Hunters here. The Elementals decide to go off down to the token. That's what they're going to think of. Remember the scenario. Whereas these guys, these very, very killy, what they used to be called Huskars, what they're called now, Clansmen, something, whatever they are. Anyway, they come into my bark-skinned Scarecrows along with the troop, which didn't get lightning bolted off, made me sad. Whereas they just turned around the foxes to face off for next turn, to do something nasty, rather than run after the tokens that are down here, which is okay. What's that? That's a lot of wounds. Oh, is that a Terror? Is dead? Oh my goodness. Yes. So 0 wounds on this Terror. It's not done anything all game. Double Ice Queen, Bolt Thrower, and Ice Elementals. Puts it on 13 wounds. 13 wounds for an 18-19, and he rolls the requisite 6 twice. So yeah, stealthy, forget it. We're Northern Alliance. We don't care about stealthy. Go to hell. That's sad, isn't it? My Terror is dead. I am sad about that. He was awesome. It was one of my favourite models in this list. And the Scarecrows also bite it, so that's particularly poor. They were on 4 wounds, so that's probably why. But the combination of all these guys, I mean, they simply cannot stand up to that kind of nonsense. So the middle is collapsing on turn 5. It's not looking very positive. If you look now, I've totally lost control of the centre, where I had a kind of very solid grip, had a Terror and everything. It's now just gone, right? He's got some Snow Foxes here, looking very threateningly, all this stuff. His Ice Elementals have come in. My Soul Flayers didn't kill this troop. I've got a troop and a regiment, and all I've got is a Mind Screech and a Planar Apparition. So, what can I do to win? Let's find out. Well, he's abandoned this token, so that's something. I just need 3 to win now. He can't get to this one. 3 to win is what you need, right? 1, 2, 3. If I can get this one, it suddenly becomes about that, right? So I looked at this and thought, really, this doesn't matter, and he has to put Ice Elemental. They're not going to do anything now. This doesn't matter, because actually, while there is a fierce fight over it, this is the one that really matters. This is the one I care about. So, I back everything up. I put the Mind Screech right here to really. I lay claim to it. I send the Soul Flayers over to deal with this bloody Bolt Thrower that's been rolled in like a demon. Because it's mainly positioning rather than anything else. I've gone into they're going to obliterate it, but then I can turn, and I'm in a very nasty place. Nothing can see me. The Mind Screech is here, being a sacrificial lamb on these guys. These Huskar, or whatever they're bloody called, Killy Regiment, can't see anything that they can charge. I've offered the Planar Apparition to these wolves, because then the worms would eat them. The Ice Elementals can be surged into things, but it's a long bomb surge. Okay, so we lightning bolt into those 4 wounds. I don't kill them, and then so these guys were already on 7 from the charge from the Soul Flayers, right? Maybe they were wavered, which allowed. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't kill them, but I did waver them. Right? That allowed. They didn't fight back against me, so it allowed me to fly over and hit the Bolt Thrower. Okay, so they were wavered, and then I lightning bolted from my other horror here. Maybe I threw in a Mind Fog as well for a little bit of shattering. 8 wounds, and I took them off. They disappear. Weakness from the other horror onto these Snow Foxes, just in case they do try it. Oh, there you go. I haven't offered anything. So yeah, okay, positioning here. So I've moved this guy back to do the Mind Fog, and these guys back. You can see my line of my arc of sight here. They actually can't see anything other than the Mind Screech, which is already in front of a bunch of stuff. All right. So what he does is, rather than charge, because he can't, he just moves them up and across, so they're an inch away. He's basically blocking me for this token because he's realised how important it is. Right? Then he's turned his Ice Elementals and he's looked at the flank here of this Bloodworms unit, and he's thought, okay. I remember it's about 12 or 13 inches. He's got 16 inches of surge, and he's like, I'm going to go for it. I don't lose any, and this is pretty good play because he doesn't lose anything by trying this surge. Right, he's got both Ice Queens for 16 surge. He doesn't lose anything by moving them forward. All he does is make me charge him in the woods if I'm going to charge him. And then he's got Frost Fangs as well. So it's worth a try. And you know what? I'll show you now. Bloody got it. He got it. And I got to admit, guys, I was salty. It's worth admitting that if you're grumpy in a game, you can be not a great opponent. When he pulled that off, I was livid. He was like, I've got to warn you, I do roll well. And I'm like, all right, let's see it. And he rolled an unbelievable amount of 5s and 6s. I was distinctly displeased. I got over it real quick, but credit for not being a dick at me because I was horrible. Anyway, so he sent the troop into the Mind Screech. I've obviously murdered this war engine. And the Huskarls have just moved forward, right? Why have they done that? If I was them, I would have turned this way. I think they went to pick up token, did they? No, they got the token off my guys. I don't think he moved them. Did he forget to? Not sure. He should have turned them. He did not. And so the Ice Elementals came down here. I think I put my horror here. Why did I put my horror here? What was I trying to do? I can't remember. He's not got anything useful. Bark Skin, or no, he's not Bark Skin, is he? He's got weakness and Bane Chant. Anyway, so he gets the long bomb surge. I'm displeased. That's the thing. The Ice Elementals, they icy breath off my horror. That's just mean. Right. So after complaining vociferously about his long bomb surge, he only does 8 wounds. It wasn't really worth me making such a fuss about it, was it? Yeah, okay. But this becomes very, very important because we're now down to turn 6. And this is how it looks, right? So turn 6 of my game. Right, so let's look at turn 5. You got a shot? Right, this is turn 5. So these guys come down here. These guys are in here. I think not turning these was a really big mistake. However, for turn 6 for me, I now have this situation. So, Soul Flayers, having finished off this war engine, have come here into this troop. Not turning these Huskarls has really, really hurt him. Like, really hurt him. Because I've now got this token as well. Soul Flayers and Mind Screech into this troop. He can't do anything about it. However, I've claimed this one with my planar apparition. The one down there is claimed by the Scarecrows. And this one, what I've done is draw it. So by countercharging the Elementals, which is the harder threat, right? I've moved my Scarecrows up here to block off these Frostfangs. They can't get in now because I've blocked them off. And I've also blown them back with the Soul Flayers. So by putting this here, I'm within 3 inches. I'm 4 unit strength, and they are 3 and 1. So this is a draw, right? So it's a draw. So he's only got 1 token down there. I've got 1, 2, and also now 3 here. Unless there's a turn 7 for his Huskarls, this is going to be really tricky. Or if he kills my worms. That's there, so 4 wounds onto them, and I kill them with the 4. So on his turn, he turns around to face me. And what I do is I block him here with my... so it's a front for the Soul Flayers. If he charges the Soul Flare, he doesn't fit for a start. He can't charge the Soul Flayers. If he charges the Mind Screech, if he overruns, he hits my Soul Flayers. So he cannot get in on this token. Over here, I've healed wounds off these guys. So by counter-charging, he's put these guys further away from the token. Comes into the Scarecrows, can't do anything else. Oh, so this is right. He couldn't charge. He turned. If there's a turn 7, he'd have to come into my Mind Screech, right? So instead he tries to shoot off the Mind Screech, doesn't manage it. Even worse, he only wavers the worms. And that, my friends, he does kill the Scarecrow, so, Death Star unit comes in at the end. But that's the end of the game, turn 6. There is no turn 7. If there was a turn 7, don't think it would have made a difference because I've still got this one here. My Soul Flayers have got it. He can't get his Huskarls in. Unless he overruns a superb amount. If he does, kill the Mind Screech. The Mind Screech is going to turn and face, right? And then Wind Blast them back. In fact, I probably Wind Blasted twice. So turn to face, Wind Blast, right? It puts the Huskarls really far away. They'd have to charge all the way in again. They'd probably kill the Mind Screech, and they'd have to overrun a huge amount to hit the Soul Flayers. The Worms would probably die, so I'd probably lose this token, but I still got 3. So turn 7, it would be a disaster. But as it is, I did manage to squeak off a victory. I think deployment of your superb hammers out on the flanks is just it's a mistake that it's hard to come back from sometimes. That kill zone in the middle was awful to face. And it was very hairy, but I did manage to pull it out of the bag. Great guy to play, and he was very generous, very kind when I was being so grumpy about that long bomb surge, and I do apologise. But really, really lovely chap, and it was delightful to meet him. Yeah, so that was the end of the tournament. I did finish on 3 wins, but I was on table 3 because I had smaller wins, and I didn't get enough of the Rose tokens. I got, so you can see the Huskarls have got the 2-point Rose token. I only got 1 Rose token off here again now, so I finished in a noble 4th. Which I was very happy with my very not optimal list. So I got a 4th, pretty pleased. 3 great opponents, really enjoyed playing them. And that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the battle report. I'm back very, very shortly as soon as I can do the one. Because it's now several weeks later because I've been very busy. I haven't had a chance to do this one. I've got another battle report ready to go, another tournament report. Goodness me. Another Clash video to do before I do that tournament report. Oh, so much. There's a lot I want to do, if only I had more time. So anyway, that's it for now. Let me know what you thought. Tell me what I did wrong. And we'll see you next time on Death by Dragons. Toodaloo!